Fox Sports Radio 1400, an iHeartRadio station available everywhere on our free iHeartRadio app. Number one for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one.
It's time for Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan.
Ready, set. Just call me Swanee.
Tiger style. Tiger style.
It is hour number 2. That's drive time right here on the show that shakes the Southland, Clemson Sports Talk. It is the road trips edition of the program, and we're always excited on a Thursday afternoon to be joined by none other than legendary Clemson SID Tim Beret. And by virtue of it looks like he is in his car, my only guess is that he's had a chance to play a little golf today if it's not raining in the upstate. Maybe I'm wrong. Tim, what's going on? How are you?
Lawton, you're way off.
Oh, no.
So I spoke to the Greer Touchdown Club today.
I have spoken to the Greer Touchdown Club.
Okay. And I am now at a gasoline stop in Tennessee. Actually, I'm on my way to South Bend. This weekend, they are honoring my former boss, Roger Valdesari. And so they're having a luncheon on Friday. So I'm going to the luncheon and then turn around and come back for the Clemson football game. But that's a lot of driving. But let me be perfectly honest with you. I owe my career to Roger Valdesari. So I'm looking forward to. He's 93 years old.
Wow.
And they're going to honor him in the press box. And they're going to have this permanent chair that's going to be his seat in the press box at Notre Dame. And so looking forward to that.
You know, isn't it amazing? And we got a great segue into something I do want to talk to you about, but listening to you talk about Roger Valdesari the way you did, isn't it amazing how the people who impact us in that way, like you think about the money that you've put in your pocket all those years, going back to him, how much that individual means to you. I mean, I think it's incredible when we hear stories like this.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And Bob Bradley did too. But Bob Bradley wouldn't have hired me if I hadn't worked for Roger Valdesari. So he kind of started it all for my career. But yeah, seems like there's more legendary figures years back. But yeah, he's meant a lot to my career, and so I'm looking forward to seeing him.
He is a wonderful follow on Twitter. Tim Beret, legendary Clemson SID, gives you all the great scoop and great notes about the things going on around the Clemson Tigers. And Tim, you talked about driving. So I was talking about this is the road trips edition, ironically. And so you just happened to be on one. And really, for me, it was about, when the ACC was a little bit more intimate, making those travel arrangements with your buddies. You drive, you didn't have cell phones. You say, hey, man, after the game, we did this lamppost. If you're not here at 9:45, we're leaving. Figure out how you're going to get back. But from the standpoint of Clemson and travel and fans, I mean, it's so unique because of how intimate those leagues were. Think about those years when you first got at Clemson. What was the tailgate scenes like that you would see at these venues? I mean, how did Tiger fans travel before you needed maybe a plane to go out to A&M? I mean, would you have any great memories on that front?
Well, I do have great memories of, Clemson fans going on the road. Now, when I started in 1978, there were only 7 teams in the ACC, so you only had 6 league games, and the Clemson fans would travel. The most famous story I can remember, my first year, 1978, we went to NC State, and I believe we used all our tickets, 5,000, and they all sat together and NC State was driving, and there were a certain part of the field that was, near where, and they were on the side of the field where the Clemson fans were. And the NC State quarterback had to call timeout because he couldn't hear the signals. And the game was at NC State.
Wow. I remember when that was a penalty. You remember when that was a penalty?
Now, that was a penalty sometime after 1980. And one of the reasons it became a penalty was a Clemson-Virginia Tech game in 1980 at Clemson. And, Virginia Tech had the ball like the Clemson 1-yard line. They went to the line of scrimmage, and, they couldn't run a play. The quarterback kept turning around. And so finally the official just got sick of it. And so the quarterback turned around again, and the official pointed at him. So he goes to the line of scrimmage to call the play, and one of their guys jumped off sides. So it became 2nd and goal from the 6. They never scored a touchdown. They had to kick a field goal. Clemson won the game 13-10. And so the Virginia Tech people, this was a non-conference game in those days, they went crazy about the whole thing and about the Clemson fans. And so I think it was that next year after that it became a penalty, but that incident had a lot to do with it.
And I can vaguely remember being at games as a kid where the stands would get so loud, they'd throw a flag on Clemson for being too loud, and then the fans would just get louder. It was the most absurd thing. Like the coach has no control over that. And oh man, but yeah, I don't know when that changed, but I do remember that. Tim Beret with us here on the program. So Tim, I was also thinking about the road trips from the team perspective. I mean, when you got there in 78 and I don't know when you would have started traveling with the team, whether it was the first year or year 5 or 10 or whatever, but did they always take planes? I mean, they always fly to I think now they would fly to Raleigh, right? Or would they hop on a bus and go to Raleigh back then?
No, we flew to Raleigh. We would drive to Wake Forest, although sometimes we've flown to Wake Forest. Sometimes a coach, when it was going to be like fall break the next week, they might drive back. They might take a bus back. But yeah, for the most part, it's been, if it was a 4-hour drive, you would fly. So that's usually, the way it was, even back in 1978. I believe the first plane flight Clemson had was in 1948 to a game at Boston College. I'm not sure of the year, but I know Clemson's first team plane flight was to Boston College.
That's unbelievable. Back in the 1940s, that is unreal. And because I was thinking, I mean, you know me, I'm thinking, well, the coaches were probably like, hey, boys, we got to hop on the bus. We got a 6-hour drive ahead of us. Get on. I can't imagine that they were flying that frequently. I mean, has the what's the right word here? The ease of access to flights and travel and things, as you've been a part of this, I mean, has it gotten easier? And I know they gotta ship the equipment. They got the big trucks that take those things out several days in advance when you got to really travel. But I mean, how is it from the standpoint of a guy like you, if you can compare traveling with the football team in the 70s versus traveling with them in 2020?
Well, the planes are a lot bigger. They take more players. I guess you're allowed to take 72 guys in a road ACC game now. I'm sure in 1948 or whenever it was, Coach Howard probably only brought about 50 guys with him on that plane. There was a famous trip to play Rice in Houston in the 50s, and somehow the engine caught on fire at takeoff, but then the wind or something blew it out, so they were able to get back to the airport and land back. That was probably the most serious incident that took place. That was in the 50s. But I mean, the planes have gotten nicer and bigger. I've actually over the years, and you can bring more people, and obviously there's more staff now on Dabo Sweeney's staff than when Danny Ford was the coach.
Again, legendary Clemson SID Tim Beret, longtime SID at Clemson, joins us here on Thursday afternoons. He's making his way up to South Bend, Indiana today. He's going to turn around and make it back for Clemson's matchup against Georgia Tech Saturday in Death Valley. Final couple of things on travel and road trips, et cetera, Tim, and then we'll dive in a little bit into this game in this series. But, you know, I also have always been intrigued by the days before you would take a plane. And I know I've talked to people who have followed college football for years, and you certainly, not just Clemson, but everywhere, have, you know, this sort of built into your blood. But back in the day when you get on a train and go to a venue, like, that's the other thing I think people forget about, is prior to people, you know, going somewhere by bus or airplane, I mean, these guys would load up on a train, right, and go play at Virginia Tech or at, I guess, Georgia Tech. You might take a train.
Yeah, I don't know the last time Clemson took a train trip. Now, I do know that they took a train to go to the Cotton Bowl in 1939, and there's a famous story of there was a guy who was not on the trip, but he was a walk-on, and he was at he was from a place where they were stopping. And so he, when they were stopped, he jumped on the train, and then one of his teammates let him, bunk in with him. And he basically was a stowaway for the Cotton Bowl game. I'm not sure what Coach Neely did when he saw him at the game. I don't recall that he played, but it was kind of interesting that took place.
Absolutely incredible. Again, that was 1939, right? That would have been 1939. Is that correct? You said?
Yeah. And, if you look in the results also, speaking of flights and long flights, and I do want to write a story about this sometime this year, 1951, which was 60 years ago, 70 years ago. Yeah. Clemson played at Pacific. And obviously flew out there. They didn't drive all the way to Pacific. And Brent Breeden, who was the SID at Clemson before Mr. Bradley, he was a sports writer for the Anderson paper then, and he actually traveled with the team on the plane out there. So I'm going to try to get with him, and he's about 94 years old now. And I want to get with him and get his remembrances on that.
Oh, no kidding. That's incredible. I mean, so long ago, and to make the flight back to, that would have been insane to think about, I think, from that standpoint, because it was just so new still. All right, Tim, final thing, and then I'm going to ask you about Georgia Tech, and we'll let you get back on the road. So after a ball game, for years, are you on the bus or the plane? Who's right beside Dabo Swinney? Is it Ross Taylor? I mean, is it you? Are you giving him stats, or is it Tony Elliott? I mean, what's the seating arrangement like, if you can pour in on that a little bit?
Well, Dabo would always be in the front bus, and usually Danny Poole would be up there with him because, he was kind of semi in charge of the trip. Fred Hoover used to be pretty much in charge of the trips. The head athletic trainer would have a lot to do with the running of the trip and lining up the buses, and so he'd be up in the front. But sometimes Dabo would sit with Coach Scott, looking back, Coach Bowden. A lot of times.
I mean, do they have do they already have the game cut up on like an iPad or something they can watch at that point? Or
they do now, and they actually had video. Now they've had video of when the basketball team. When it was making a bus drive, I remember as far back as 1992, 93, when Chris Whitney was playing for Clemson, we lost the game at NC State. And I remember that the team looking at the film, and they had TV monitors in there, and they had them all hooked up to a VCR. And so I remember as far back as that the team looking at tape of a game. Now the coaches today, they've got all their iPads, and so they're breaking down film and looking at film, on the way back.
Pretty instantly, then. That's incredible, because I know they got to have people cutting it up right there. This is the pass 20 yards to the right, and they can watch every one of them. So for people that have never seen that type of I think it's fascinating for them to hear you kind of give that insight. Man, I could probably go hours with you about bus travel and the kind of nuances behind the scenes that a lot of people don't get to see. Let's talk real quick about Georgia Tech. Last season, for many years, this was a 3-point spread for, I know the number, probably 7, 8, 9 years, whatever it was. Last season, a little bit more than the 3-point spread, 73-7. I don't think anybody's calling for anything like that on Saturday, but just talk briefly about what this rivalry, in your opinion, means to Clemson, even though there was a wide margin a year ago.
Yeah, well, of course, the two teams go way back. Playing in Georgia Tech dominated the series for many years. I believe it was from 1907 to 1973. Every game was in Atlanta. Georgia Tech didn't come to Clemson until 1974. Coach Neely and Coach Howard liked to balance the budget, and I guess they were getting a good guarantee from Bobby Dodd down in Atlanta. They finally came to Clemson in 74, and Clemson won. Clemson had a good team in 1974, and by today's standards, definitely would have gone to a bowl game. Went 6-0 at home, beat Georgia and Georgia Tech both at home that year. And of course, the rivalry kind of stepped up, took another level when Georgia Tech joined the league. They joined for the 79-80 academic year, but they couldn't work out the football schedule, so that they started competing for the league championship until 1983. But yeah, there were some great games. I mean, it was a big upset in 1984. Georgia Tech upset Clemson the week after Clemson lost to Georgia down in Athens. That was one of the examples of the all-time great hangover games where a team beat you twice. That was a 60-yard field goal by Butler, and then we lost the next week in Atlanta. But yeah, we had that run of, I think, 6 straight games that were decided by exactly 3 points, which is pretty amazing. So that really enhanced the rivalry. Of course, another memorable game for Clemson was 2006 when the first game was ever game day at Clemson, and James Davis ran for 216 yards, and C.J. Spiller ran for 116 yards. Also had a 50-yard touchdown pass reception in that game.
Man, it'll be a good one, hopefully, in Death Valley between the Tigers and the Yellow Jackets, old rivals, squaring off this Saturday. Tim, safe travels the rest of your way. Enjoy the celebration, and definitely look forward to catching up with you soon, and hope to see you in Tiger Town. Sounds good. Thanks, Lawton. Yes, sir. Thank you for sharing. Tim Beret, man, wonderful, awesome. Wow. Don't you just want to dive in a little bit more? Like, I didn't find out where Ross Taylor sits or where Tim Beret sits. I didn't find that information out. So, with that, I mean, that would be something to know. Now, if you just joined us here in hour number 2, go over to our YouTube page and subscribe. We are trying to get to 500 subscribers. We'll hear from Dabo Sweeney, his post-practice comments on Wednesday. Coming up here on the program for you. And again, a wonderful article up right now on our website, ClemsonSportsTalk.com, talking about the relationship between Big Brian Brazee and Go DJ. Yeah, that's my DJ, DJ Uiagalelei. Brazee saying, quote, "My job is just to be his friend." And boy, when you think about the pressure that comes along with being the starting quarterback at a team like Clemson, especially now after you've already got one loss to open the season, boy, the rest of the way, it's magnified. It's magnified. And so from that standpoint, just to continue to watch DJ through this year and how he handles himself, in addition to all the off-the-field banter about him, in addition to the criticism, and again, I really believe that the NIL changed how some of you feel about these guys. And that's, I think, amplified how quickly people jump on it. Well, must have been eating too many Bo-Berry biscuits, Swanee. Well, must have been all that Dr. Pepper's got him all twisted. And I think that's a part of the problem, like, for these guys right now. And I said all along, I think, like, you what's the old saying? You get what you asked for, or what's the old saying? I can't think of it. I got a break coming up. What is that old saying? Anyway, stay with us. I'll think of it.
Now, Columbia's most dependable traffic, sponsored by Pope Davis Tire and Automotive, home of the best tire prices in Columbia, guaranteed. Fox Sports Radio 1400 traffic.
Traffic types include Bush River at Hillsboro, also I-26 westbound at the Highway 1 exit. The 103.5 FM WVOC traffic tip line is 343-1055.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Dell's semi-annual sale for business has arrived. Save up to 45% on Dell computers with Windows 10 Pro. Enjoy specials on Dell docks, monitors, and servers. Succeed anywhere with Windows 10 Pro. So call 877-ASK-DELL to speak with a Dell Technologies advisor.
The COVID-19 pandemic continues to bring tremendous stress to HBCU students and many social, financial, educational, and mental health challenges to communities of color. The UNCF National Virtual Walk for Education raises funds to support historically Black colleges and universities, HBCUs, and the students they serve. Join us on September 18th for a virtual experience in honor of supporting HBCUs and their students. To register for the event, please go to uncf.org/National Walk.
Calling all sports fans, iHeartRadio is the exclusive audio streaming partner of the National Women's Soccer League. For the first time ever, you can listen live to the biggest league games on NWSL Radio on the iHeartRadio app. The action kicks off Saturday, September 25th at 3 p.m. Eastern when NJNY Gotham FC takes on NC Courage. And then at 8 p.m. Eastern when Chicago Red takes on Portland Thorns. To purchase tickets, visit nwslsoccer.com/tickets. Stream these games and get up-to-date highlights exclusively on NWSL Radio, only on iHeartRadio.
Fall is a season that's a little in the middle. It's sort of the best of two seasons. It's no longer a sweaty summer, but the winter chill is still around the corner. And that's the perfect time to feed and seed your lawn with Scott's Turf Builder. Even better than spring, because the soil is still warm, but the air is getting cool. So your lawn gets the most nutrients in the best combination of temperatures. Feed and seed now with Scott's Turf Builder and build the best lawn for every season. Scott's, it's good out here.
Let me tell you who I trust to protect my home and my family. Modern Exterminating. Hey, it's Lawton Swan, and when you need top quality service from a team that knows what bugs you, call Modern Exterminating, 765-2315. They're locally owned and offer a full complement of pest elimination services, including complete pest control, termite plans, moisture control, and more. Check out Modern Exterminating online at pestfreesc.com or give them a call today, 765-2315. Modern Exterminating. They know what bugs you.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Families affected by disasters urgently need support. Help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to those affected by disasters, big and small. Donate. Relief. Go to redcross.org or call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
Looking for South Carolina's favorite country? You'll find it at 97.5 WCOS.
Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan with you. Not liking the camera angle right now. Yeah. I liked it better when Tim Bray was on, but I can't for whatever reason. That camera angle was actually a little bit awkward because the what's the word I'm looking for here? The stand was leaning. I did love the angle, though. If I can never figure out how to simulate it, I think I will. Jonathan, dude, 500 points to Jonathan. Jonathan, let me tell you about these points. They are a lot like the little tickets at Chuck E. Cheese, man. They're not worth a lot. Nothing, actually. You can't even buy like a little trinket with them. But 500 points to Jonathan. The phrase I was trying to say was "Be careful what you wish for." What? You'll get what you wish for. What is that? What does that even mean, Dad? What does that even mean? I don't know. Thank you, Jonathan. I do appreciate you, brother, giving me the scoop, giving me the insight into what I was trying to say earlier. All right, again, Clemson and Georgia Tech coming up this weekend, but the first Atlantic Coast Conference team to get going will take place tomorrow, UCF and Louisville. And Louisville, to me, is an interesting case study because, it wasn't all that long ago that a guy named Lamar Jackson is the Heisman Trophy winner, is electrifying your television sets, has his team ranked number 3 in the country. I mean, on and on and on. And look, they hire Scott Satterfield after getting rid of Bobby Petrino, which, if you're going to talk about personalities, you couldn't have any. They couldn't be further from. They're so far apart. Just the contrast between those two guys is incredible. And I think, however, and this to me falls right in line with our conversations about South Carolina and the fans there being willing to give time to Shane Beamer. Because Scott Satterfield, for a lot of people, is potentially working his way closer and closer to being on the hot seat. And man, sometimes I wonder if administrators and athletic directors really need to recognize who their program is nationally, and maybe more so, who's out there. Who's out there? And there are a lot of Atlantic Coast Conference coaches in the top 25 hot seats in America. Dino Babers, according to coacheshotseat.com, number 1. They were terrible last year. Not a lot expected out of them this year. I really like Dino Babers. I think he's a very personable guy. I think he's going to graduate your players. I think there's more to Babers than just the football side of it. And quite frankly, if I'm Syracuse, I think you ought to embrace that and be thankful for it. But he's number 1 on the hot seat. By the way, Scott Frost at Nebraska, number 2 there. But you got Babers at 1. Jeff Collins coming into Clemson. Again, we talked about what Collins had to deal with in turning over that entire Georgia Tech offense from what Paul Johnson left behind. He is number 6 on the hot seat. Jeff Scott at South Florida is number 7. Talk about not giving a guy any time. Number 8, third Atlantic Coast Conference team, Mike Norvell at Florida State. Yeah. 3 of the top 8 coaches in the coaching hot seat out of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Take it a little bit further down the list. You go to 19, Justin Fuente. No surprise there. Got a huge victory in the season opener against North Carolina. Giving a little positive vibe in Blacksburg. I have said that job at Virginia Tech I think is potentially a landing spot at some point for Shane Beamer. Gamecocks won't love that conversation. I think his father's legacy there. I think the fact that there's a chance that a guy like Fuente could be ousted at the end of this year, somebody else comes in, is there for 3 years, and then Beamer builds something in Columbia, but just wants to get back to Blacksburg. I could see that. I could see why you might want to do that. There's obviously no guarantees on that front, but it could make sense to me. Number 23, David Cutcliffe. Number 24, Scott Satterfield. 6 Atlantic Coast Conference coaches in the top 25 of the coaching hot seat rankings. I mean, that's a pretty big number. Almost half of the league's teams are in the top 25 on the hot seat. Now, as for Dabo Swinney, for those of you keeping score at home, they've got Lincoln Riley being on the coolest seat in the country. They've also got Nick Saban at number 128. Jamie Chadwell out of Coastal Carolina at 127, and Dabo Swinney at 126. So Swinney, one of the top 5 coolest seats in America, according to the coach's hot seat. So that's a quick look at it. And again, we already have one whacked off the board this past week, Clay Helton out at Southern Cal after their loss to Stanford. Who's next to go? Frost? Harbaugh's third, by the way. Harbaugh's third. And I'll just leave you with that one. Can Jim Harbaugh make it through the season? Will he make it through the season? Stay with us.
The biggest stars from all genres of music will share one stage at our 2021 iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Performance here from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
2 nights of performances you've never seen before. Streaming free on the CW app and CWTV.com. And listen on iHeartRadio tomorrow and Saturday, starting at 10 p.m.
Capital One is a proud partner of the 2021 iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to their customers. What's in your wallet?
There's a hot new podcast we think you'll like. Variety's Strictly Business. Hear candid conversations about business deals, strategy, and the future of media and entertainment from industry A-listers. Hosted by Variety business editor Cynthia Littleton and co-editor-in-chief Andrew Wallenstein. And once a month, executive editor of music Shirley Halperin will join the conversation to discuss the business of music. Listen to Strictly Business on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.
Group training is a fun, accountable way to get in shape. I'm Coach Stewart of Dynamic Health and Fitness. Come train with one of our special groups today. We will focus on giving you the support you need to get in shape. We use the Dynamic Mob, featuring intervals of cardio, functional training, and strength training to change your lifestyle to make you healthy. Get started today at any of our locations in Lexington or West Columbia, or call 803-408-4060 or online at dynamichealthclub.com.
At Firehouse Subs, we make our subs differently because our subs can make a difference. And now it's never been easier to grab our subs to go for you or your whole crew. With Firehouse Subs Rapid Rescue to Go, you can save time when you order online at firehousesubs.com or on our app. And we'll have your subs boxed, bagged, and ready for pickup at our designated to-go areas. No lines, no waiting. Just more big, bold, craveable subs that help save lives. Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs. Save more lives.
This is former Notre Dame quarterback Brady Quinn. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by DuckDuckGo.
Remember how Tom Brady never said anything in New England? Well, he's making up for lost time in Tampa. But one thing hasn't changed, his attention to detail. He recently complained about the new rule that allows players to switch numbers and said that last-minute number changes make the offense's job much harder. But you can never doubt Tom Brady's fierce competitiveness. Not with 7 Super Bowls. I'm Dan Patrick.
What is it that makes you uniquely you? Well, DuckDuckGo doesn't think that's any of their business. And frankly, it shouldn't be the business of any tech company. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo.
I'm Aditi Kinkabwala.
And I'm Mike Yam.
We love football so much, we figured let's start a podcast and call it NFL Explained, where we just answer all the crazy questions we get about football all the time.
Like how the Buffalo Bills got their name, or who even came up with the Sky Camp, because that is actually a really cool idea.
Answers to questions like that and more every Thursday. Come join us for the NFL Explained podcast.
You can listen to NFL Explained on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Major key alert. Don't ever play yourself. Life is like school. You will be tested, so pass it.
Learn the real major keys to getting to college at GetSchooled.com.
Stay focused. Now that's a major key alert.
Brought to you by Get Schooled and the Ad Council.
My husband had a gun. Him and his friends would go shooting. The ammunition, unfortunately, was not stored separately. In a million years, we never thought that Emily could. There's a hole in our family that can never, ever be filled.
63 Americans a day die by gun suicide. With safe gun storage, we can give our loved ones a second chance at life. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Broadcasting from the TrueCar.com studios. This is Columbia's Fox Sports Radio, 1400.
I just had one of those scary moments where I thought, oh man, my battery might be dead in the in my mouse that I control my show with, and I don't have any spare around me. That was going to make for an interesting segment. Going to have to do the old rolling around inside there. You know that old trick. Just give me one more minute, please, Mr. Battery. Well, it wasn't Mr. Battery. It was Mr. Phone Call. We got one here talking about road trips on the show that shakes the Southland. Appreciate you calling in. 803-450-0086, 803-450-0086. You can call that number anytime, any place, anywhere. Clemson getting beat by Georgia Tech this Saturday, and you want to call? Do it. Here we go.
Oh, gosh, Swanee. My favorite Clemson going to a road trip game was 1989, Florida State. Not only did we go down there and take care of business, but it was one fun time and fun to be had by all. Have a good day.
Yeah, look, that game, of course, coming off the heels of the Punt Ruski game is Wayne Simmons with a 73-yard fumble return, I think, for a touchdown. It was an interception return for a touchdown, I believe. And, of course, Terry Allen's touchdown run. Just an iconic moment for me as a kid growing up. I believe that game, correct me if I'm wrong, Clemson wore all white in that ball game, which the business suits on the road, yeah, I approve that in a hurry. I will approve that in a blink. We've got some Dabo Sweeney audio coming up for you here in just a little bit. Always appreciate people giving us a call and telling us what they think. Big Mark says best venue, first round of the playoffs, Miami, Florida. Whooped Oklahoma, baby. Big Mark, you're right about this, man. You are right about this. That game turned on the fake punt completed to a freshman Christian Wilkins. And what was crazy about that fake punt was that it wasn't the week prior, right? But it was the ACC championship game where Clemson ran a fake punt against North Carolina, and Dabo Sweeney just went ballistic on Andy Teasdall. And then you thought there's no way Clemson's going to be faking this one after Teasdall. I mean, Teasdall's butt was still hurting from being chewed out. And sure enough, man, Clemson pulled it off. I can remember the Oklahoma fans in the stands. I was at that game. That game was hot, man. It was a New Year's Day, maybe the 31st or New Year's Day. It was hot. And the Oklahoma fans were just stunned, flabbergasted that you'd pull that trick. I talked about that the other day, though. Like against Georgia this past week, because Clemson's so good, like I don't feel like they are as creative as they once were. They just feel like we can line you up. We're like the military. We can line you up. It was kind of like the Red Coach, right? Back during the American Revolution. Like the British machine was just this military entourage who just marched out there in lines, got in a row, and they were just better, more accurate, stand in the line. They were going to beat you. What did the Patriots do? They got creative. Guerrilla war tactics, swamp fox and whatnot. Hey, you checked in for sports. You get a history lesson, kids. Bam. All the kids riding in the backseat of the car. Bam. That's an A on their upcoming test, mom and dad, because you tuned into the show that shakes the Southland. So that's like, for me, Clemson, unfortunately, has become a little bit robotic and not willing to do things that Nick Saban did in the national championship game. He kicked an onside kick. Nick Saban. Now, if you've seen some of the stuff about Saban lately, maybe he's a little bit more loose than we thought. But Nick Saban kicked an onside kick in the national championship game. Yeah. (803-450-0086). Somebody said, "You're sorry, Swanee. I said it was Greg Hugel." I did figure out it was Greg. Did that come in first? Because I never saw the first text. If somebody texted me first. Greg the Leg. Coming up, final segment of the show. We'll talk. And you know what time is it? Here we go. I can get a little Dabo Swinney in before we hit this first break here, or this final break. I think I can. I'm like the little train that could. I think I can get it in here. So Dabo Swinney yesterday met with the media to talk about getting ready for their matchup with the Yellow Jackets. Jake Venables, who's been banged up with a hamstring injury. Dabo Swinney said that Venables is a, quote, game time decision. Here's what Dabo Swinney had to say, though, about Nolan Turner, who's expected to return this ball game, and how valuable Turner's been as sort of an assistant coach for this team, especially the guys like Andrew Makuba.
Oh man, Nolan's been amazing since he decided to come back in January. I mean, he's been teaching those guys. That's one of the reasons that Makuba has really done so well. He came in January and shows you how smart he is. He went and got to know Nolan Turner quick, and man, he spent tons of time with Nolan because players can teach each other as much as they want. Man, Makuba couldn't get enough. And Nolan has been an incredible asset and teacher for all those guys. But we're super excited to get him back, and I know he's excited to go play. And he hasn't played a couple of games. He's mentally incredibly sharp, but he missed the scrimmages, and he obviously hadn't played these first couple of weeks. But he's played about 2,300 snaps in his career, so I think it'll come back to him pretty quick.
There he is, Dabo Swinney, yesterday evening after practice, talking about Nolan Turner and his return to this lineup, and the value added of Turner and Skalski and Spector. Man, it's huge. All right, final segment, again, of the show that shakes the Southland on a Thursday afternoon. Hit you right after this.
iHeartRadio Earth is here with little tips for a healthier planet. Less than 1% of water on Earth is drinkable, and humans are using it faster than nature can replenish it. Reduce the amount of water you use in the bathroom by taking shorter showers and turning the water off while you brush your teeth. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
Come on down to Jay's Vape and Wellness Center. Open 24 hours with the best prices on disposable e-cigs like Biddy, $11. Cali Plus, $13. Jewel Pod 4-pack, $15. Views Alto 4-pack, $17. Big selection of glass water pipes. Roar, Mav, Illadelph, Puffco Peak. Flavored whipped cream chargers, 48 packs for $25. Huge selection of hookahs and shisha. Nitrous tanks, $60 even after tax. Open 24 hours. Jay's Vape and Wellness Center, downtown Columbia.
Radio advertising can connect your business with holiday shoppers wherever they go. Use iHeart Ad Builder to create an affordable custom radio ad right on your phone. Just click, listen, approve, then hear it on the radio. Create your customized ad today at iHeartAdBuilder.com.
It's time to get your home insanely clean. Listen, Zero Res cleans like no other. No harsh chemicals and no sticky, soapy residue is left behind. And right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $119. Plus, when you mention this station, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. Schedule online at ZeroResColumbia.com.
Hey guys, Lawton Swan here. I was hanging out in the backyard with my son Mason a couple of years ago, and he said, "Dad, you're the best father ever." When I asked him why, he said, "Because when I go outside to play, I don't get eaten up by the bugs anymore." Imagine that, me, a hero, when all I did was call my good buddy Trey Powell at Mosquito Joe. With their routine service plan, no more bugs and no more bites. Make yourself the family hero. Call Mosquito Joe today, 803-223-7916. That's 803-223-7916. Outside is fun again.
Way back when, Columbia was a vast dining desert, a wasteland for fast, fresh, authentic Southwestern food. Weren't nothing bundled up nice and warm in a tortilla. Columbia needed Diablos. Southwestern the way you want it, the real deal, with no shortcuts in quality and served up as fast and fresh as you want it. Diablo Southwest Grill, Sunset Boulevard in Lexington. DiabloSouthwestGrill.com.
Hi, I'm Alicia Kaufman Quinton. My daddy, Billy Kaufman, opened Kaufman's Meat Plant at our present location in 1955. My family still works hard every day to ensure fresh quality cuts of beef, pork, and poultry. How about a tasty T-bone, ribeye, or New York strip steak? But to order at Kaufman's Meat and Place, just look for the signs near the intersection of US 1 and I-20 in Lexington. Call us at 356-0076 to place your order. Kaufman's Meat and Place, when you want the very best your money can buy.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I was sensitive to lights and sounds, so I built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. Sometimes I do the same things over and over, until one day I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
We need you to help the Federation Center of the Blind continue its life-changing mission of opening more doors to blind South Carolinians. Please call us at 803-254-3777 or email nfbsc@sc.rr.com to see how you can volunteer or make a donation. Fox Sports Radio 1400. Online at foxsportsradio1400.com. On your phone with the iHeartRadio app and on hundreds of devices like Alexa, Google Home, Xbox, and Sonos. An iHeart radio station.
What have you done for me lately? It's a fair question. Just don't lose sight of the bigger picture. Don't forget history. Lucky for us at Clemson, the answer to the questions, what have you done for me lately, and what have you done always, are the same. We win.
Final segment on a Thursday afternoon. Again, we'll dive back into some of Dabo Swinney from yesterday afternoon. If you like this show, subscribe. If you hate this show, subscribe. Come help us reach our goal of, well, now currently 500 subscribers, but we want to take it to 1,000. That's our first goal. And from 1,000, let's get it to 5,000. And from 5,000, let's go to 10. But we can only do it with you. So go hit the subscribe. Help us out. And I don't want to be the guy that tweets that all the time. I just try to tweet that occasionally, not all the time. We got a text message come in that says, I was stunned. I thought, oh no, not T-Stall again. He's the quote, okay, this is your number one fan, Linda. Oh, that's Linda. Oh, was it Greg Hugel? Not who is Greg Hugel? Linda, I got you. I couldn't read. Man, is that my eyes? Did you mistype it or was that my eyes? Because I was looking at this monitor. I wasn't looking at my monitor closest to me. Don't tell me it was my eyes, Linda. But go to the optometrist. Get checked out. All right, so Dabo Swinney yesterday afternoon again. Meeting with the media on a Wednesday, his last media obligation before Clemson dives into this contest against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Wednesdays are one of my favorite days, though, because they're right off of the practice field. You can't have, he doesn't have his notes. I mean, he comes in there on a Tuesday like a whirling dervish. He's just got everything. We did this, fourth time of that. I mean, it's like Ross Taylor's been in his ear all night, giving him all the goods. Dabo Swinney was asked about Clemson's vertical passing game, something, man, I guess, some of these other media types might be listening to the show because I talked about that. Here's what Swinney said about the, quote, vertical or the horizontal. I guess this was more of a horizontal threat than a vertical threat. But again, just trying to get guys out in space and give them the ball. Let's see what Swinney says about that.
And we got this is as good a group as we've had since I've been here. There ain't nothing we don't have, nothing we don't have the ability to do. We just gotta, we had one game where we didn't play very well and never got any rhythm. Had a game last week where we really did whatever we wanted to do. And so the keys just keep growing, keep getting better, keep improving. And, we're playing 2 games, but there's not anything we lack when it comes to our ability to attack people. Not with this group, that's for sure. We just got to go do it. We got to be consistent.
Dabo Swinney again talking about the passing game, more specifically, I guess, the horizontal passing game, getting the ball to guys out in the flats and making people defend that territory as well. He was also asked about Trey Williams, an up-and-coming defensive tackle prospect who, when he came to Clemson on a recruiting visit, I mean, we don't get to talk to those guys, but just looked like he fit the culture. And if you look at his Twitter account, still feels like he really fits what Clemson wants in a player. And he's been getting more and more opportunities. He's in a battle with guys like Rook Oro, and certainly he's got other guys in front of him like Brian Brzee and Tyler Davis. But here's Swinney's his evaluation of the job that Trey Williams has done.
Did good. Got better. Still not quite where Rook and Brzee and Tyler are, but from just a precision in his execution. But he did just fine, man. This kid's playing for the first time, and just gonna keep getting better. Just better and better and better. Like I said the other day, there's no greater teacher than experience. And when you have guys like we have, our team, we got our entire team. They love ball. They care. This is a very coachable team. And, when you've got that and guys that really love to prepare and take a lot of pride in their performance, take ownership in it, then you're going to get better because they're going to learn and they're going to grow through their experience. And Trey's one of those guys.
There he is,
Hey, Coach.
Dabo Swinney again, talking about Trey Williams and the job that he does for the Clemson Tigers. Now, I got in there and asked Coach Swinney a question, and you ever ask something to the coach and just think, man, what a dumb way to phrase it. First off, I wanted to know specific programs that Clemson's had in or met with or whatever. And this is here comes your buddy Swanee. Hey, Coach Lawton Swan with Clemson Sports Talk. I know in the past you guys have taken trips out and seen programs, and certainly you probably had some programs coming in to see what you guys have built. But this past off season, were there any trips, that some of your coaching staff went on to look at any other programs or anything to that nature? Now, again, let's remember COVID-19, Swanee. Yeah, I know, but I meant like because people were traveling. But I love Dabo's response here. It's fantastic. But I didn't say what teams.
They didn't go anywhere, but we had a lot of meetings with a lot of different groups. We had some people come in here, but as far as we did not go anywhere. But nowadays you don't have to go anywhere to go anywhere. It's
right.
Pretty. None of y'all are here, but I'm talking to you. So
none of y'all are here, but I'm talking to you. I love that one.
We're always learning from other people and always willing to meet with others. And that's how you stay sharp and keep learning, keep growing.
There you go. I didn't get to ask him about who, though. So still great. All right, we got to get out of here. Till tomorrow. As always, y'all take care now. And go Tigers.
Clemson Sports Talk with Lawton Swan on Columbia's home for sports.